Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 128, recording on Sunday, November 20th, 2022. My name is Frank.
Hi, my name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And the nominees for the Game Awards, the 2022 Game Awards, are out this week. We'll be discussing that. Some stuff we played. Pentiment, a tiny bit, right, Sean? We'll talk about
tiny bit, definitely
okay.
A tiny bit.
I have not beaten God of War Ragnarok. I'm very close. I promised I would have beaten it, or I was close to promising, so I'm carrying a great shame when it comes to that, but I'm near the end.
Did you make a solemn vow, or no?
I did not make a solemn vow.
Just checking.
I don't throw on solemn vows like you. Like, how many solemn vows have you still yet to complete? Every Resident Evil game ever made, that you're going to finish it. I don't know. I can't even keep track anymore. But I did not make a solemn vow. I don't think. Imagine if I did and I forgot. Like, that's truly embarrassing. That I'm hanging it up if we're at that point. I'm done. So let's get into the Game Awards. I'm surprised at how popular the Game Awards have become. I think they're actually a really big deal. I know when they happen, we talk about them being more of a marketing thing and announcing games. But when they started, I don't know if any of us actually thought they'd catch on as the Oscars of video games, but they really have. I think they are kind of the definitive award ceremony, and they do matter in the games industry for sure. So not a lot of surprises this year. The main two games that's we've been predicting would be duking it out, God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring. God of War Ragnarok with 10 nominations, Elden Ring with 7. The other major nominees, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Plague Tale Requiem, Modern Warfare 2, Immortality, Neon White, Sifu, Tunic, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 seems to be the only game Nintendo is really getting any love with there. So any initial reactions from you guys with the Game Award nominees?
I'm a little surprised at how much duplication there is between the categories. It seems like you could have taken like the games for Game of the Year and just kind of copy and pasted them into most of the categories, which is kind of a shame. You kind of wish there was a little bit more, but I guess, if you got 5 games that are extremely strong, they're probably going to be strong in multiple categories. So that's the only thing. There's a couple games I wish were on here that are no-shows, or at least very little representation. So, that's where
I even think they're holding back a bit and trying to address what you're talking about, because God of War Ragnarok is not nominated for Best Action Game. It's under Best Action Adventure Game. And, it's an action game at its core. I know it's a heavy narrative focus, but, there's narrative focus in Bayonetta 3. I just don't think they have the budget or the time. So if Bayonetta 3 is nominated for Best Action Game, I don't know how God of War Ragnarok isn't, but whatever.
Yeah, the category breakdowns are always debatable and weird, but overall, I think it's a pretty good list. I know a lot of people seem to be there's definitely a lot of discussion about Stray being up there for Game of the Year and just the number of nominations it got. Personally, I'm fine with it. I think that's cool.
I'm with you. I agree. It is going to be in my top 5 for Game of the Year at this point, I would assume.
And I'm sure it's got no shot at winning Game of the Year for sure. I don't know about some of the other categories, but just, we talk a lot about how the big categories usually don't get the indie games. The indie games are kind of relegated to their own one category, but that's starting to change.
JD's won Game of the Year.
That's true. Good point.
It has happened. I think more so than other art forms, let's say. I think indie could always win Game of the Year, especially with people voting the way they do. It'll be interesting to see how. I don't know how much the awards are weighted based on fan voting versus industry voting. I don't know if we've ever dug into that and what happens, but when gamers are passionate about particular games, I think there is opportunity for every type of game to win Game of the Year. While we're talking Game of the Year, let's just go over the 6 nominees for Game of the Year.
Sorry, can I just interrupt for 1 sec, Frank?
Of course.
I was just looking back because we were talking before the show what games won previous years. And I'm just looking at, like, Hades did win something, but did they win the Game Awards?
I'm pretty sure.
It says It Takes Two won the 2021.
The year before is Hades.
Oh, the year before. But the year before it says Last of Us Part 2.
Maybe the year before then. Hades came out on Switch very early compared to kind of where I've started.
I don't know. Like the last 5 years is Breath of the Wild, God of War, Sekiro, Last of Us Part 2, and It Takes Two. But I do remember Hades winning something, so I'm kind of confused. It looks like they won Game of the Year at the GDC Awards.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Wow. Now that is truly embarrassing.
They also won at the DICE Awards, but I don't think they won the Game Awards. So it's a little...
And I am very embarrassed and sweating profusely. Either way, it did not win Game of the Year at the Game Awards, apparently. But this year's nominees for Game of the Year are A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm not surprised by any of those, really. Honestly, if I'm surprised by any of them, it's Horizon Forbidden West, based on what I've played on it. And some of the reviews I've seen for other games, even though I don't like them all that much, Immortality, Bayonetta 3, people seem to be loving Bayonetta 3. So I'm kind of surprised by some of the secondary Game of the Year nominees, but it's not a big deal, of course. But I mean, the most interesting category to me, just like my interest in games lately, is Best Independent Game. I feel like the games I've been most intrigued by, other than Elden Ring and Ragnarok, are in the Best Independent Game category. Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. All really interesting, good games. And even Best Debut Indie Game, Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors. Definitely the most interesting stuff, which is weird to me because I look at all these categories. There's 6 categories for esports, like content creators and all this stuff. And ultimately, the award show is going to come down to 3 categories that I actually care about and would influence what I play next.
So,
Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned Vampire Survivors. That's one. Like I don't know. I don't know how you feel, Frank, but I've seen a lot of people saying that should have been up for Game of the Year. I mean, I guess it's a small game, but
it will be in the nomination for my Game of the Year, but I understand criticisms against it. The runs can become a bit repetitive, where I see the brilliance of its simplicity. I could see others see it being too simple to win a Game of the Year. I don't have a huge objection with it not getting a Game of the Year nomination, although it will be most likely in my top 5.
So you think that this game is better than a game that has been completely snubbed by our friends at Drinkbox? Throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Nobody Saves the World will be in my top 5.
Completely snubbed.
That is true.
Not on role-playing game. Like, you think, let's go to the role-playing game section now. Where is it? I lost it.
Some pretty good one. Elden Ring, Live Alive, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
So, okay, well, while we're on this, okay, I'm with you, Frank, or I'm with you, Huck, on Nobody Saves the World. That was definitely on my list of snubs that I noticed. But I was going to mention this with something else that wasn't nominated. It's not on any of the lists. But, like, I'm curious how remakes and remasters figure into this, because Live Alive is on Best Role-Playing Game. You know, it's a make.
Master.
I mean, it's
yeah, it came out like the 80s, the original.
But it's not just like an HD upgrade, we'll say, right? Like, it's a pretty, I think, a significant upgrade. But what about The Last of Us Part 1? Like, I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised not to see it anywhere on here, but, is it...
Have any remakes ever qualified? I don't think this is a surprise. No.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know what the...
qualify.
Okay, but Live Alive is in there. So I don't know. Where do you draw the line? That's
good point. Even bigger snub for Nobody Saves the World.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to bring it up because I'm pissed.
Well, okay.
It should be on
I don't know
there.
if I'm pissed. I'm pissed in the sense that it will be in my top 5. I think we now know every game in my top 5 because I've said all of them. Unless Sonic Frontiers blows me away in the next few weeks or a few other latecomers. But like, I got to go back to Sifu. I got to go back to Tunic. Neon White I never finished.
Yeah, so let's stop at independent game. Okay, Cult of the Lamb, you said you really liked that.
Yeah.
Neon White, people like that one. Sifu, okay, it's got a cool art style, cool vibe. Stray, obviously Tunic, but Nobody Saves the World. Come on, this is another one where I would put it way ahead of Sifu. Personally,
Yeah, I
haven't played Neon White, but I would put it ahead of Neon White. But I haven't played Neon White, so
I'd say, I mean, just the fact that I beat Nobody Saves the World 3 times already says something. And Sifu, I'm very intrigued, but it's got a steep learning curve. Neon White, I really loved, and I can't remember why I got distracted from it, but I think it's comparable in terms of quality if it continues at the pace or the quality level of the challenges and the pacing of what I was playing. So I don't have an exception. I generally, I understand why Immortality is nominated for that much stuff, but I personally don't get it. It's a good game. It's interesting. I don't know if it's all that compelling to play. It's kind of awards bait at some level. So whatever.
And
but,
what did they explain anywhere what the difference between best direction is versus best art direction? Like, is direction like game design?
Yeah, it's
or what is direction?
Direction is the entire, like, beginning to end, I would think, experience of the game. Whatever the focus of the game is, probably, why can't I think of the word? Cohesion, like the artistic integrity of the game, overall presentation. I think that's what that is. Art direction is literally art direction. Like, what do the different areas look like? What's the quality of the art? Or not even, like, more impactful style is what art direction is about.
Yeah. So I'm a little surprised Immortality is in best direction because, like, there's not, there's the twist part of it. And that's really the direction, I would say.
I mean, I almost feel like it's in there because of, like, the film direction side of it, because all of that stuff had to be directed. But
I think in terms of cohesion and putting an idea out there, it is very well done. Like, just because that idea didn't land with me, it all makes sense. There's, I think it's true to its narrative, its artistic intent. It's that to me falls under the banner of direction, and it does it well, even if I don't particularly like the gameplay or find it all that rewarding. Best direction for that does make sense, and perhaps they are factoring in performances. And I think in terms of direction, it's also the idea of not the performances, but capturing the art styles of each era of filmmaking, the genre of filmmaking in each of the different decades. I think that all fits into the direction element of the game. So I don't have a huge objection to that. Honestly, I don't have an objection to many nominees. Again, it feels like a really good year for video games. Stuff I wish I played more, didn't have time to. But, I generally think it's a lot of great games here. And even small stuff like Mario and Rabbids, Splatoon 3, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which are all relegated to best family game, were pretty good games. Like, Gran Turismo 7, I played a lot of. It's up there for best sports game. There are decent games that have come and gone over the year that I don't know. I just look at the best indie game and I look at those nominees. I'm like, yeah, that kind of captures how good of a year it was. Though those are bordering on like AA indies. And that's why I think they have the best debut indie category now, because those indie games are veering into polished, pushing into AAA territory. So it's tough to separate those ideas. But yeah, it's a fantastic year.
So just to, while we're still kind of talking about Game of the Year and the indie game categories, a couple other kind of big snubs, I think. But, again, not that I would necessarily think... Like, I'm okay with what's in there. I don't know if I would replace any of them with these.
Throw the hammer down, Sean. Give it to us. What are the snubs? Huck was...
Rogue Legacy 2.
Ooh, interesting.
I haven't really seen anybody talk... I was just kind of looking at the Metacritic top 100 for the year, and that is very high up there. And I feel like not a lot of people talking about it in general.
I shamefully have not played it yet.
Yeah, I've only played a bit, so I need to go back to it as well. But Return to Monkey Island. I mean, I guess it's not a huge surprise it's not there, but it is pretty highly rated by a lot of people. And this one maybe is a bit of a stretch, but Ghostwire Tokyo, I mean, that's kind of one of those AAA ones that feels like, could have been maybe somewhere, but
definitely a stretch.
And then I guess, we're going to talk about Pentiment. I don't know if that would have qualified. I don't know if there's a cutoff date for release date. I assume there is, but that's kind of up there now too in terms of Metacritic score.
Yeah, there are a lot of exceptional reviews for that game. We'll be talking about it a bit with limited exposure. I will qualify it with limited exposure. I guess personally, Case of the Golden Idol is a game I feel like should be getting more love. There's not really an adventure game category. I don't even know if there's a category that it fits in, unless it's an indie. It should be up for best debut.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking, like, shouldn't there be a puzzle category or puzzle/adventure? Like, I maybe that's just not a sexy category for something like the Game Awards at this point. But like, I feel like once upon a time there was always a puzzle category when you're talking about, end of the year awards for games and stuff. And I don't know, maybe just people don't care about that anymore. But
there's only so much time, Sean. Like, how we got to get to best esports coach.
I hear you.
I'm not against that either, but shouldn't there? Are we getting to the point where maybe we can just do an esports awards? Like, they feel like different markets to me.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah,
I'm here for the games. I want to know games to play, not games to watch. Like, I feel like that's the separation. An awards night for watching and peripheral elements around gaming, and then another night that's dedicated to the games themselves. If I want to play something, I'm going to look at what the winners are or nominees are from that night.
Yeah. I guess one other game that is really high on Metacritic, I assume it's not here because of the remake thing we've been talking about, but Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe is like top 10 Metacritic on multiple platforms, I think. So really well received. Could have maybe been in like narrative or something at least, but yeah.
Overwatch 2 got nominated, which is kind of weird in the sense that it's just a renaming of Overwatch 1 in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so that reminds me, I wanted to talk about the best ongoing game category, which I get. There's games that are just, they have seasons or whatever, so they're kind of just constant games. They don't have like a sequel or a new release like Overwatch. Actually, it does have the sequel in this case, but I was surprised. So Genshin Impact is in there, which makes sense. But then I noticed Genshin Impact is under Best Mobile Game.
Yeah, it's mobile and it's ongoing.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't it have been up for like last year's Best Mobile Game? Like, why does that get to be in mobile game every year?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. It's It's Hoyo versus Paola, no doubt about it.
I mean, there's probably not a lot to choose from in terms of mobile stuff right now that people would recognize or care about, but it's a little weird.
Surprised Netflix didn't get some of their exclusive mobile games.
I was going to mention that. Like, they've definitely got a few, like that Poinpy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that game has been really well received, and that's like an original Netflix mobile game. And they've been porting a lot of stuff to mobile. I don't know if that would ever count, like a port of like a really well received PC game comes to mobile. Would they ever put that in there? I guess not.
Look, Sean, I have to admit I was completely disregarding your points about mobile versus ongoing and the remake thing. But there is definitely some contradictions here.
Yeah, there's a few.
I mean, Live Alive, maybe it's just a separation thing, like in terms of the original and the remake and being vastly different. I guess it makes sense to me. Last of Us Part 1 was nominated for innovation and accessibility, which is
okay, so it is in there, yeah.
Which is features that weren't probably in the first version. So it makes sense to be nominated in that capacity, I think. So some strange nominees, but overall seems about right. Other than
I mean,
particularly loved like Nobody Saves the World and Case of the Golden Idol.
I actually thought so. I was looking at, and it's weird that like some categories have 5 nominees, some have 6, which is a little strange because I would have thought that I was kind of shocked, though not totally shocked when seeing them, but that Tunic wasn't in art direction because I feel like that game has an extremely strong art direction with the world and with the book or the map or whatever you call it. Yeah. So I was kind of surprised. Like I would put that above Forbidden West. I mean, there's not much, Forbidden West does, from what I've seen, like drastically different from the original.
I agree.
So yeah, and that category only has 5, which is kind of surprising. You think best art direction would deserve, more people in there, the better. But I can understand Scorn or Scan Stray.
How many have 6? Like I know the best. Like Game of the Year has it. Games for Impact. Are those the only ones? Yeah, it is.
Maybe they actually have a nomination system, and it actually is just when it comes down to ties. I have no idea, but I don't disagree. Art direction it's a category that's high up there with good reason. It's like the most attractive factor for me, like playing games nowadays, especially with independent game art styles, and Horizon Forbidden West does seem kind of similar to the first. Ragnarok, I think, does drastically differ from the first, and ideas that I think are pretty exceptional. Elden Ring, I think, is very deserving of best art direction. Scorn, have no issues there. Stray as well, I thought was phenomenal. So strong nominees all around, but yeah, I'm with you on your suggestion.
Maybe we need like a best UI, best menus. I mean, that's probably getting too far into the.
And what are you proposing for that?
Well, the Tunic, like Huck was mentioning, that the manual thing was one of the unique things about the art in that game.
Best gimmick, best new idea.
Yeah, something like that would be cool.
Game Changer Award.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there should be an award. Let's rename what I'm talking about right now as like gameplay innovation or gameplay idea.
Yeah, mechanics.
Yeah, I think I'd like more stuff like that. I know that's not going to sell the tickets or get the views, but
yeah,
that would be interesting to me. We're just going to have to start our own awards and do the real categories.
There we go. Good idea. We'll have at least 3 people watching. At least.
I think we might get a few.
The junkies. We need to do the junkies for Game Junk. I mean, come on.
We should.
So just a couple other quick things. I mean, happy to see Shredder's Revenge in Best Action Game and Best Multiplayer Game.
Yeah, I wasn't pleased to see it there because when we did multiplayer, it was a fucking disaster. I don't know how the hell that got best multiplayer. How many reviews we had?
Works well local.
Yeah, I'm sure local works
Local
fine,
works fine.
Get real.
I was going to mention just with the
Okay, so let's say it works locally. Like, what's so great about it? Like, why is that the best? Like, it didn't do anything that unique with multiplayer gameplay. It was a standard beat 'em up that there's like 20 beat 'em ups that you could play local co-op. Why does that win best multiplayer game?
Because it works. It's fun. Strong game mechanics.
I am fine with it being there. I just was thinking about, like, Frank, come on, you haven't yet gone into blue haze mode here yet. Like, I mean, there's a lot of Sony on this list, in these categories. Not a lot of Microsoft, to be honest. I mean, not really a great year for them in terms of first party stuff. I was kind of wondering if, like, I haven't played A Plague Tale Requiem yet, but I mean, it got 5 nominations. It feels a little bit to me like it's the token Xbox game. But I don't know, like, do you guys feel like it does deserve to be there genuinely? Or, like, do they always have to find an Xbox game to balance out the lists?
Depends how much advertising money Xbox is here. And I bet it's a lot. I bet it's a whole lot. And I bet there's a lot of Starfield reveals at this. So we better get an Xbox game in the game.
It would be pretty awkward if there was no Xbox games in any of these categories.
My guess is Nintendo does not give the Game Awards very much money. Based on what I'm seeing here.
But they probably invented the family category just for them. I mean,
could be. But yeah, like, it's weird. I didn't even think Stray was PlayStation exclusive, at least to start. Maybe, like, other than PC, console exclusive. Forbidden West, God of War. Now, I don't think Forbidden West is, like, amazing by any means, but what can I say? Like, I don't even need to defend this stuff anymore. I don't run the Game Awards. They try to spread out the love, and even they cannot deny Sony exclusives are way better than any other console. That being said, my blue haze has been waning, moving to Steam and PC, but a lot of that is user experience on Sony. The console, like even the home button and weird stuff like that, like it's not as good as it used to be. The store kind of sucks. Just going on buying binges on PlayStation is not as much fun as it used to be. So, I mean, God of War is changing that a bit. It's really good. And I did finally try out that PlayStation Stars, the rewards.
I signed up for that as well, but didn't really investigate it at all.
And I feel like people are saying that there's issues with it. I didn't get offers or rewards I was supposed to get. 5 months ago, I would have been really angry about this, but right now I don't give a shit. Like, I think it's kind of good that attachment to PlayStation is weakening, but God of War Ragnarok is really, really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have much else to say about the Game Awards. You guys got anything you got to get off your chest?
No, I think we covered it all.
Looking at this, the 3 games I need to go back and play: Tunic, Neon White, and Sifu. Need to get on those before the end of the year. I already plan on finishing Elden Ring, hopefully Forbidden West. But those 3 I need to give more time to.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to give Tunic another shot with at least one of the easier difficulty options, but we'll see.
I feel like I was expecting something else in the best audio category. It's kind of like the normal, big AAA games, but, sometimes indies sneak in there with something really neat, but there's really nothing in there. It's Call of Duty, Elden Ring, God of War, Gran Turismo 7, and Forbidden West. So it's nothing really out of the ordinary. And I was hoping something would appear there to pique my interest, but
I feel like
all
Stray
those-
could have been there, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm surprised Stray's not nominated for best score in music because I think that was my favorite music of the year so far.
yeah, definitely.
What can you do?
Can't win them all.
Tune in, watch the commercials, see who wins the awards, see the guy from It Takes Two do something crazy. It's a tradition. We can't wait for the Game Awards.
He better be there.
Oh, he'll be there. They always have some big announcement there. December 8th, a few weeks away.
Very cool.
At least we'll have something to talk about.
Oh, we didn't talk about
Oh.
the biggest category of the show. Best VR game. Come on, how could we have missed this?
How underwhelming VR is, and I looked at the best VR games, and like I'm semi curious in Moss Book 2. Bone Lab is like a version of
Boneworks.
Boneworks, right? And then it's After the Fall. Is that the roguelike VR game?
No, I think it's, or I don't think it is, but it's like
It's a multiplayer game. Sorry.
yeah, I'm kind of curious about it, but I mean, I'm interested in all of them really, but I mean, I couldn't think of anything that should have been there that wasn't. I think it is a little bit of maybe a transition year for VR. I don't know. There's not a lot of huge games this year.
Definitely a transition year. And while we're on the topic, Blue Haze, PSVR 2 pre-orders went on sale in Canada through Best Buy last week. I messaged Huck and Sean letting them know. Did you guys pre-order?
No.
Nope.
Sean, you didn't pre-order?
I said I wasn't going to pre-order, but I have to admit, I'm like still thinking about it. I don't know if they're sold out yet. Probably not. But I'm thinking about it.
They are. I hope they are. I pre-ordered, of course.
Of course.
Has to be done.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Needed to
What are
be.
you on welfare? Come on, man.
All right. What we played? Anyone have anything? Sean, you go. Lead us off with Pentiment.
Well, okay. I don't have a lot to say about Pentiment specifically, but so this game, obviously, I wasn't that interested. Kind of came back on our radar because of IGN in particular, giving it a 10 out of 10. It should be mentioned, like, it's not across the board 10 out of 10s. Like, it's a bit of a, like, it's getting high ratings, but like that is a little bit of an anomaly, I think. But obviously was curious. So I did just today throw it on to try it out. And I think I fell asleep like 10 minutes in. Like it is like, I know like it's sort of a narrative focused adventure game, very dialogue heavy. But, you know, it is also supposed to be kind of a mystery, which, you know, kind of a quote unquote detective game. Was kind of curious about that angle.
That's what I thought it was. It is not.
Haven't seen that so far. But yeah, it's a real slow start, and it's just a lot of dialogue. You do have choices in your dialogue. I feel like some of them, like you choose something and it says they will remember that. So you're like, okay, I guess that was an important choice. But a lot of them, it just feels like you're given a few different things to say just for fun. And I still, that was it. I just clicked through a bunch of dialogue trees in like half an hour, and I could not keep my eyes open.
Lots of reading, very dense. Some reviews, summaries I've seen say it's like half history, half adventure game. I thought it was a detective game, so that's why I was very intrigued. From what I can tell, it's not.
So
Now,
it's
I'm not
kind of more like a 2D like Walking Dead game where it's more like little bits of walking and then talking.
From what I can tell, it's a point and click adventure game. Like
Yeah.
it's mimicking stuff like old Monkey Island games with a little more choice, I think. But it's where I think this game is failing. I've only played it for 45 minutes or an hour, and it did not hook me. I didn't fall asleep, but I could have fallen asleep if I made myself, because it is. I'm like, what is the hook to this game? And it might be there, But the failure of this game so far is that it doesn't do like a mini version of that choice loop really early. Like seeing an impactful decision play out, or whatever the hook or the reason people are giving this game great reviews, show that to me in a small version in half an hour. Get me like, oh, this is what I'm in for. I've played this game for 45 minutes and I don't even know what the point of it is, or what the core set of challenges, puzzles, like it's everything I'm doing has no meaning at this point. So it's tough to get invested into a game where you don't know why you're doing anything and what could happen. So I'm not writing the game off. It might be great, but it does not do a good job of convincing you that it's great in the first hour.
Yeah, for like a narrative focused game, the story did not grab me at all. And I mean, the art style, I'm a little bit on the fence with. Like, I don't think it looks great, but there is some cool stuff. Like, I do like when you go from like one area to another, the sort of page flip thing that happens. I thought that was kind of cool. And there was something else that I thought actually worked, but yeah, I don't know.
I like the weird stuff with the dialogue or text bubbles where someone was who does the printing press, like it was the actual what do you call the things you put in a printing press?
Plates, or
like the letters from the plates or whatever. And there's obviously something with religion where God, Jesus, and like all those words are highlighted and they come in later. It's building on some idea, and maybe that's the payoff and they can't give it away too early. That definitely could be a thing. But when I think of Case of the Golden Idol, you're presented with a simple version of what you're going to do for the rest of that game, and it hooks you in immediately. And then it just gets more complicated, and you start to see it reveals its pacing and variety as you progress through the game, where I don't know, I just wish this game would have told me what it's about earlier, because I'm an hour in and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going back. I would have to be convinced to go back.
Yeah, I mean, I got too much other stuff I want to play before the end of the year, so I don't think I'll go back, but
I was literally thinking I could be finishing God of War right now. I so much would rather be playing God of War Ragnarok.
I did notice what you're talking about, though. Like, there's also like some of the dialogue, there's kind of like it's written almost like calligraphy or cursive, and there's parts where like words are misspelled and then they get fixed.
It's reflective of the character or who you're talking to, and like some of the class structure that it's leading towards, I think. But even then, like, you click on names, which is similar to Case of the Golden Idol, and it pulls you out of the book and gives you extra information. And I'm curious about what that means, but honestly, I don't need more information. I need more doing. I don't need more reading.
Yeah. And I don't, like, obviously you play it and you're like, okay, IGN gave this a 10. Like, how is that possible? I can believe that this is a game made for certain people that would absolutely love it. And I 100%. Get that. But it's not something across the board. Everyone's going to love this thing.
Yeah. And I just think it doesn't do itself a service of establishing a hook in the first hour. It's like intentionally alienating or like dense at some level. So I guess I give it some props for that, but I don't know if I'll finish it. I highly doubt it, actually.
Yep.
Sean, I'm leaving it to you. Or Huck, like, this is your kind of game. You like point and click adventure games. You love these types of games. So you guys got to continue on with this, or at least give it a go. Let me know if it needs to be played.
I mean, I got to finish Monkey Island first, so it's going to be a while before I get to this.
Are you guys playing them on PC or on Xbox or PS4? Or
I played it on PC Game Pass. I almost blind bought it, and I was like, maybe I should just give it a little test run first. Thank God.
Yeah, you almost dove into the IGN cred bubble.
Oh, yeah. Microsoft Payola almost got me.
Yeah, I played on Xbox. I actually feel like the controller. So you're like using mouse and keyboard then, Frank?
Yeah.
I feel like that probably works a little better because there were some things I was seemed a little clunky with the controller. Okay, I got something else, but I don't know. Do you guys have anything else?
Huck, you got anything?
Just God of War. It's the only thing I've been playing, so we can
Still
play.
enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm still liking it. I got to the first sort of like gameplay twist or change, whatever you want to call it. And I thought it was fun. Like the changes that they made were enjoyable. I thought it felt natural, a natural change to make, and felt good. I like the subtle differences, and I like how once they make that change, the skill tree opens up a little bit more. And still, though, those menus, like, they're brutal. Like, I get a new rune.
I don't know if I talked about this last week, but the actual economies that drive the menus are just as complicated.
Yeah.
It
does seem that
it's so bad.
It does seem that like one resource like rawhide or whatever is meant to upgrade all level 1 things, and then there's a new thing for all level 2 things. That seems to be what it sort of is.
I think it's inconsistent between armor and
yes, it may be,
and the hilts and all this stuff. So that's where I'm like, I don't want to memorize the names of economies. Like this is so ludicrous.
Well, I mean, really, you don't really have a choice, though. It's not like you can go farming for the stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So it's not really like you kind of just get it as long as you search around. But my problem is more with like the runes and like attaching all those other things. Like, I don't even really know how to get to that menu. Like, it was like go to a weapon and then hit like left or something or right or down. I'm like, on the D-pad, I'm like, how do I get back here?
They moved it to the D-pad, which was...
it's so strange.
I don't remember if I said this last week, but I wish they would have just kept it as their old shitty version of the menus and had them consistent at the very least. I guess I know why they didn't, which is kind of spoiler, but I agree that mixing up the gameplay is the best. And one thing I didn't mention last week in the initial impressions, taking areas from the first game and recontextualizing them. Like just, it's someplace I've been before, but it feels completely new because, there's snow everywhere. Things are blocked off. A lake is frozen. And I really prefer the sled dog travel to the boat. I love that. It's really good. Anyway, I'm still loving it. Almost done.
Cool. So I did try Somerville. This is also on Game Pass, and I really feel like I haven't heard too many people talking about it, but
reviews have been pretty mixed from what I've seen. Yeah,
which I do get. But I mean, it is similar to Limbo and Inside for sure. So if you like those games, it's at least worth checking out. Now, the difference is, so this is a different studio. It's one of the co-founders, I think, of Playdead. I don't know specifically what his involvement on the other 2 games were, but so he started a new studio called Jump Ship. And the big difference with this between Limbo and Inside is this is a 3D game. So, it is kind of similar because, the basic idea is there's sort of like this alien invasion scenario that happens. And this guy kind of, absorbs an alien power. But much like Limbo and, well, probably more like Inside specifically, you don't really know how to use it. You kind of are just figuring it out as you go. Like it interacts with certain things. You don't know what button does what. Like they really don't tell you that. You just got to figure it out. But the thing is, in 3D, that's a lot more frustrating than it is in 2D because you're kind of, bumping into things. Sometimes it's like you have to face an object at just the right angle in order to interact with it. And so like it was a bit slow going because of that. But I still was enjoying the the story and the atmosphere of it. And it's, I guess other games it reminds me of, it's kind of like maybe like Little Nightmares a bit. Like it's sort of one of those games where there's some puzzle elements and then there's some chase sequences as well. And sometimes you kind of have to hide. But I was enjoying it. I mean, I like I said, I do get some of the mixed reviews. Some of the control stuff is frustrating, but I think I'm probably going to go back to it and keep playing it. So check it out. Definitely if you have a Game Pass, and give it a poke.
Nice. I forgot to mention, I bought, but I haven't played yet. A Little to the Left came out a few weeks back. I did the demo, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. I do want to play that soon. Reviews are pretty good, 78 Metacritic. We were intrigued by that a while back, so that's out.
Yeah, I
Cool.
forgot that was out. Lots of good games.
Anyone else have anything they're playing?
Oh, I think that's about it for now.
I think that's a wrap then. You can check us out on youtube.com/GameJunk. Next week, anything? Oh, the Discord's there too. If you want to join the Discord, people are going back and forth about God of War. People aren't loving it. They're wrong. It's okay. It's no big deal.
For next week, are we going to finally review Silent Hill or what?
I don't know, dude. Are we? Just putting it out there live?
Putting you on the spot.
Spoiler.
I would say probably not.
Okay.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, we'll throw it in one of these days maybe, but if there's news, then we'll talk about news, I'm sure.
It doesn't feel like it's Christmas. It's the holidays. It doesn't feel like a thing. Watch Silent Hill?
I don't know. Why not?
All right. Well, I'll consider it.
Okay.
If you guys really want to, I will. So I'm not
It's just an idea. I don't really care either way.
Doesn't something... No, there's nothing good going on. Video games is a desolate wasteland.
It is a quiet week in terms of releases. Like, I think there's more stuff right at the end of the month and beginning of December, but I don't think there's much this week coming out. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And we're not Pokemon players, so... Oh, that Evil West game comes out this week.
Oh, right.
That didn't look
Are there reviews for that yet?
nothing yet, no.
Okay.
We'll see.
Maybe there is something.
All right. Well, thanks for listening or watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.